Friends, will you pray with me, please? Now may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Leave your country, your people, and the home of your parents and go to a place I will show you. That's what God said to Abram. And after that, they journeyed by stages. If you read on in Abraham and Sarah's epic in the book of Genesis, you learn that even though God showed Abram where he would end up at the beginning of the journey, the stages of his journey took years, decades even, the rest of his life. So a few thoughts about this text on the day when we celebrate the past year of ministries together and hold our annual meeting, and in the context in which we live right in this moment. First, and this is right off the top, movement is human. Movement is human, to move from place to place, to answer a call, to leave country, people, and the home of your parents. That is a human thing to do. And it still takes great courage and trust, both in God and other people, to leave land, family, and country as Abram and Sarai did. You don't journey by stages for years and decades without relying on the presence of God and the kindness of strangers. Courage and trust. Movement is human, and it requires courage and trust. Second, even when you have a vision of where you're going, it takes journeying by stages to get there. Just knowing where you want to go isn't enough. Journeys take time. Change takes time. Transitioning from one place to another takes time and usually takes you through still other places on the way. Some you prepared for, like those bathroom and snack breaks, and some you totally didn't, getting bumped off the road. Third, during all that time that passes, without a vision, you will be lost. I think about the alternate visions of American life that are being promulgated right now. There is a new White House website about aliens with a space theme, suggestive that those who moved across borders without papers, like Abram and Sarai did, are inhuman. Even while people are establishing relationships with and seeking counsel and comfort from AI chatbots that really aren't human, right? There's much that is fear-based and isolated and isolating and dehumanizing about these visions that are being promulgated in our life and context right now. And these visions are a far cry from the vision that Abram received, trusting God and others enough to journey forth, internalizing the message that blessing isn't a thing to be hoarded, but its purpose is to be shared. And that's the fourth point this morning. I will bless you, and all the people on the face of the earth will be blessed through you. So let's just run through those again. Movement is human. We won't get there all at once. We have to journey by stages. Holding a vision keeps us from getting lost or losing ourselves. And part of that vision is that blessing is meant to be shared. So a question to you as we meet and celebrate today: where is our collective journey taking us? Early on in my ministry here, someone asked me what I hoped to accomplish in my ministry among you. And I'm not sure if it was returning to ministry after becoming a parent and suffering a bit of mom brain, or if it was wisdom that attains to over 15 years in ministry. But I didn't, and I don't really have a vision of what I would accomplish, especially when I barely knew you all. I did have a vision of how we would be together and in community. And I needed to know, first from the search team and then from all of you, that that was a vision we could share. How we would be together in service, in kindness, as a place where children feel comfortable, safe, and free. A place where adults share vulnerably and openly about their own journeys in ways that help others grow and feel welcome. A place where music is made joyfully and soulfully, and employees are compensated justly, and blessing both inside and outside our walls is bestowed generously. A place where we can wrestle honestly with the challenges of life as we live them and find sanctuary as we journey by stages. A place we can live out the motto on our UUCC shirts and signs that say, "Be the church," and then say what that looks like: protect the environment, care for the poor, forgive often, reject racism, fight for the powerless, share earthly and spiritual resources, embrace diversity, love God, enjoy this life. Friends, one of my favorite quotes comes from St. Catherine of Siena, who wrote a version of this, and it's a translation. So she wrote, "The whole way to heaven is heaven because Jesus is the way." And the way I interpret that is that when we choose to step into the path and footsteps of Jesus, loving our neighbors, being a blessing to others, sharing curiosity and joy, welcoming those who move into our communities, or trusting others enough to journey out into theirs, when we do those things, we catch glimpses of the kingdom of heaven, like is on those slips in your pews. And we find ourselves in heaven, building heaven, walking through heaven, because we have chosen to walk in the journey and way of Jesus. Because we have chosen to be together on the journey in a way that is loving and kind, and probably ends up looking differently than we imagined, because it gathers and collects others along the way, and we can't help but be changed by those who come into community with us. Those slips in your pews are there to share glimpses that you have caught in the last year. We will collect them in the offering plates, or you can hand them to me or worship team members after service. And I will read them out loud throughout annual meeting and celebration of ministries, because it's so beautiful to hear those glimpses that don't just come from me and my voice, or even from all of the leaders within the congregation, but from our community as a whole, to be reminded of those glimpses that we're catching and this journey that we are on together. I think especially when it can feel hard. So where is our journey taking us? That is something we get to discern and vision together with God's help. But I think it's pretty clear how we are meant to be with one another as we journey by stages. Shall we? Amen.